go through our technical difficulties. What do you think?
That's way up.
That's
Hold
way
on.
off.
Alright, let's adjust a little bit.
A little bit. Tilt it more this way.
Hold on, guys. We're almost there.
Like right there.
That's way too tilted, man.
Right there.
No, way too. No.
This way. Let's see.
It's the way you set up your phone from the beginning.
Like that.
Is that good? Yeah, that's fine.
Yep. Alright, cool. Alright, you guys, what's up? Welcome. We are live. We are starting the first 3 episodes of ANDOR. Now, before we actually get started, oh man, we just literally went back to back on all 3 episodes.
Back to back.
And I gotta say, man, this is definitely well put together and well executed. So, we got a lot to talk about. But before we actually do, I do want to go ahead and give a special shout out to our Crown Knights. Thank you so much for supporting us, Jason Beltran and to Invincible. You guys have been Patreon members since day 1, so for the ones that haven't had a chance, make sure to go ahead and take a look at our Patreon, become members today. Support us, greatly would appreciate that. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't had a chance. Now we are jumping live because we have just watched all 3 episodes, so big warning, it's even in the title. If you guys haven't watched it, you guys want to go ahead and watch it first, I'll suggest you guys log out and go watch it and then come back and watch the live video. If you guys already watched it, then you know we're here to talk about a lot of stuff. This looks awesome, bro.
Hold on, right there. Okay.
So, all right, first things first, man. I gotta say, Diego Luna, he's really one of my favorite actors. Overall, especially like watching Narcos Mexico, watching him in other films and shows that he's came out. It's just been, he's a really good actor, and the reason why I like him is because he doesn't really portray that actor as a funny goofball, a funny guy. He's always
he plays serious
that
roles?
serious role, like always thinking. And every time I mean, when I look at this here, I'm thinking of Diego Felix from Narcos Mexico. He's always serious, thinking ahead, always up to like making his plans. He's always in his mind all the time. And that's exactly how he's portraying this character, Cassian Andor. And dude, it's just watching these 3 episodes has just been freaking mind-blowing. The story itself, it's awesome. The action, not so much action, but enough to still grasp you into wanting to continue. But the storyline is just incredible, man. There's a lot of good moments in it that's kind of like you can feel the character and you can kind of like side with the character and understand the character, why they're going through what they're going through. You know, because here you have Cassian at the beginning of the story. You kind of just starts out with him taking out 2 officers. Why? Because they were messing with him. He was just there trying to get information on his sister. Come to find out, they were trying to pocket, they were basically trying to like take his money or try to mess with him, and he ends up taking him out.
But I think the whole. By the way, my name is Aubrey, and this is Evan.
Yes, you should know this by now.
I think the whole it even take those corpos, to pick on him to begin with the story arc. It had a lot to. In the beginning, there was already a goal where Cassian is looking for his sister. Yes. And at first, did he say in the beginning that his sister's name is Canary? Because I was a bit confused as far as what Canary is. I know Canary is a language that they speak, and they're also from a place called Canary. And when they were speaking the language, they were speaking Canary or Canarians or whatever you call them. But that's what I know. I kept on saying, look, these we got like Neverland, Lost Boys in Star Wars. Like the producers decided to get some Lost Boys, Peter Pan, Lost Boys, and
not just boys.
Well, I know
Lost Kids.
They call them Lost Boys, Lost Kids.
Lost Kids, and Neverland.
But I think that was the goal, and the thing is those soldiers, those corporals was just like something that was put into the the show just to kind of innovate why he really needs to leave. You know, to really rush him into leaving the planet into looking for his sister and stuff, or into looking for something. But I don't know. Was he really looking for his sister, or was he looking for
Yes, he
something
was
else?
looking for his sister.
Because he did have that little girl, right? There was that little girl in the
Yeah, when he
beginning.
was a kid, and that's the whole story. That's kind of basically what the whole purpose of him trying to find and search for his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And then now he's literally going trying to do anything that he can to get out of the planet because apparently maybe the sister's not in this planet. She
Yeah.
might have gotten taken out of the planet. Who knows what happened? At
Mm-hmm.
the beginning, the first episode, you kind of don't get much of the story of what
You don't know
happened. Little by
anything.
little, it's
This okay with this, and sorry to cut you off, but I just want to throw this in. The first episode, basically, you don't need to know anything about these characters. Like you don't, you can still be a general audience and not know a lot about Star Wars and just watch this from the beginning and still understand it from the beginning because they give us a good origin of who Andor is. You know, they do like these little flashbacks. The flashbacks, the transitions, and the way they incorporated the flashbacks going back and forth was really quick. As opposed to what they did with the Book of Boba Fett, I think they spend a lot of time with the flashbacks more than the present time,
yeah.
and that's what I like about this. They did quick flashbacks, and I love the transitions of the flashbacks, like specifically with the droid B2. AKA B2 emo, BTEMO. I love the fact that he was all rusted up in the present time, and then you get his story. You get a flashback of B, like when he was all painted
Nice.
nicely, and
He was a new model.
from the get go, they talk about like, oh, how did B2 meet, or how did B meet Cassian, and we find out that B was owned by, of course,
Maybe Marvin or
no,
what?
I think her name is Marva. Marva.
Marva.
Yeah, Marva. So Marva and B2 and the other guy, Clinton, I think. I'm not sure if I'm going to get their names right for the first time, but I'm sure we're going to get their names pretty soon because we're going to get more than 12 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that, we're going back and forth and the transitioning of the flashbacks, I find that very important with the story arc of this series.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, and what made it more like
Just keep
really
talking because
interesting,
I got charged mine.
what made it a lot more interesting as well was just the way that these kids were. I mean, you have a bunch of kids that were like completely survivalists. Like they're out there surviving. You're trying to figure out what the hell happened. Why is there a bunch of kids? What happened to their parents? Why was it deserted for a meantime? Like, and you kind of little by little start open as the story starts opening up. You kind of see that something had happened to the mining area where the factory, or I don't know what the hell it was. Like it looked like construction, mining. Who knows what happened? But you kind of start finding out that there was like an incident that happened. Toxics got released. That's why when that ship at the beginning, when all the kids were like, "Hey," trying to call for that ship crashes was because when they go there, you kind of see the people. They were all turned yellow because of the toxic. So they all died. They probably crashed because they were trying to escape, but the toxic probably got to them, and then that's when you kind of start seeing, okay, something went down. That's why these kids are surviving on their own, and they basically do a good job at keeping each other safe and taking care of each other. But then you find out that Marvel ends up taking Andor or Cassian, so that just on itself is like, okay, so what happened after? And then watching these 3 episodes, you kind of did open up a lot as far as the characters, and you can kind of feel for the characters and kind of understand their emotions. You can kind of understand like why they are where they're at.
I think what I like about this show specifically is the character development. We know nothing about the characters that's being introduced to the first episode of this show, and basically what the director is trying to do, and as far as how they're writing it, is we're so focused on Andor. We're focused on Cashin because this is his story. This is his origin. This is who he's connected to. So we're being introduced to all the people that he's connected to, who he's friends with, and I think that's an important part of the story because later on we're gonna find out why they're so important. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're their role in throughout the whole entire season.
Yeah, and I found it
Um,
interesting too, like when the imperial, the officers, and like when they got
I mean
to
the
that,
corporals.
the corporals. Yeah,
Yeah.
when the corporals, there was two officers though. The rest were corporals.
No, they're called corporals.
Corporal. Yeah,
They're corporate security.
yeah, but there was two of them that were like off, like two
I
legit.
know, but
Either way,
the security is called
regardless,
corpos.
it was very
Not
interesting to know.
corporal, corpos,
Copos,
not
copos,
corporal, corpos.
co. But anyways, it was very interesting to just see the fact that the village where they're at, where Cassian kind of is at, where they kind of like have some way of protecting each other. So when the officers showed up, or the security team showed up, like they completely started sounding the alarm. Then once they did stop it, it kind of I thought they were really gonna go and just kind of like take all of the
They were
officers
doing
down.
the pigeon call,
The pigeon call,
and that's something for the hood.
and that was cool because as soon as
That's like ooh ooh,
yeah, like
corporals are coming. No, they were doing
Yeah.
they're doing the sound.
They were doing
and
the
when
sound.
Marvel was talking about, yeah, you hear that? That's like she didn't say it like this, but she's like, you hear that? That's the hear of death. Like
Yeah.
that's the hear of you guys get your ass whooped.
Yeah, that's the sign of you guys.
So
gotta get the hell outta here.
once you stop hearing that sound, you're done.
Because that's done. They got nervous. They're like, oh shit, what's going on? They stopped. And like next thing you know, one of the guys tries to take off. That ship was already anchored to like this big old engine, which caused them to crash. So they had no way to go back, which was funny because now they're stuck. Now they need backup. They need to somehow survive. And imagine if all the villagers jumped in and just say, you know what, we're gonna take them all out.
Mm-hmm.
They can't because they know if they did, that's just gonna
Well,
cause
they're
a
in their
war.
hood.
Yeah, but
They're
still,
in their hood.
that's gonna cause like a war. They're all then the whole Imperial's gonna come in and be like, we're gonna have to put order in
Yeah,
here.
Empire. So a lot of characters here I found interesting. So with Bix, she's a female mechanic, and it looks like her and Andor, Cassian Andor, had a history together. I have a
can
feeling
tell.
that they were together at one point, and then broke up. I don't know who broke up with who, but I guess it was one of those complicated relationships. And he is a very complicated character, Cassian Andor. The reason why he's so complicated is because like he's kind of like Saul. Like the rebels will not. They're not goody two shoes. They're not squeaky clean. They can be just as bad as an empire. The empire are bad. I mean, the empire commits genocide, right? They would kill people. But the rebellion sometimes they would kill, but then it was for like a reason, I guess.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
freedom
but
fighters.
they're also not squeaky clean. And Rogue One also explained how the the rebellion is, they're not always good. They make bad decisions. And Saul Guerrera, Guerrera, right, or Segura, Saul,
Guerrero,
Saul,
yeah,
Saul
Saw.
Guerrera. Saul Guerrera. Why did I say Saul? I'm thinking about Breaking Bad or something. Saul Guerrera. He's another good example as to how the rebellions act sometimes. Sometimes they get a little power trip, and sometimes they just get a little out of control. And they get too fixated with their emotion, with their beliefs, with whatever they need to do and stuff. And sometimes it's not always correct, but I do like some of the characters here. Skarsgård, I think. He was also one. Dude, why did I delete my? Did I delete it? Anyways, Skarsgård, the actor Skarsgård, he plays. What's his name again?
Luther or something.
Luthen.
Luthen.
So he plays a major character role here as well, and you find to see he at first like I didn't even know what he's
Nobody
doing.
does. I mean, he's just like literally all quiet throughout the whole way.
He's just taking
He
this
pops
trip.
out.
He's like people are just like, hey, so coming back to this. Are you here for work or whatever? And
Yeah,
it's
same
no,
much.
just here to pick up some stuff.
Yeah,
I'm here to
come
pick
to
up a
find out,
box.
he's there to pick up that what's called the
box.
NS9 box or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
box. Yeah, the
And
mother box.
The mother box. That's basically a very important item to have, or weapon, or I don't know what it is. Well, it's basically the way when I was hearing it out, it's kind of sounded like the NS9 box was to track Imperial officers. So I guess it would like track and find exactly where they're at. So I guess that's kind of like with the rebels or the
I think
the
Luthen has
resistance would.
something to do with like starting this rebellion and stuff because he's also telling, he's also talking to Cassian about like, so how much do you hate the Empire
Mm-hmm.
as much as I do?
Because he's
Like,
there to kind of
are you sick
interview
and
him.
tired? Are you sick and tired of them like stepping all over you kind of thing? So like how many empires would you Imperials would you want to kill kind of
Yeah.
thing? So you join me, and we can make this happen. So this is definitely the origin of the rebellion. This is the origin of Rogue One. This is just the origin of the team, and we find out, like right now, Diego Luna's character Cassian Andor, he's a bit timid. I mean, he's got some survival skills because as a kid he survived,
Oh yeah.
living with those other children, and this right now he's a bit timid. Like he's just when we see him in Rogue One, you see more of like a leadership quality in him, right? And sometimes he just does things like he'll really kill people, to get the job done. But here he kind of like pulls back a little bit. Like he didn't even mean to kill that one corporal. Like he did that by accident. Like he didn't mean to kill him, but then he had to kill
You have
the
to take
other
out the other
guy
one.
because like that's gonna it's gonna
Yeah, it's
blow
gonna
his
come
cover.
back to him.
Well, it's gonna blow his cover because
Hmm.
they don't want people to
I mean,
find
it's
out
still
that he's
dead.
from. You don't want people to find out he's from like Canary and stuff. So, and that's something that Marva, not is it Marva? I keep forgetting her name. Marva, yeah. It's something that Marva was trying to do. She's trying to like keep him safe, trying to protect him from like the corporals and stuff.
Yeah.
So I really find it interesting. This show is like when I was watching this show from like starting from episode 1 to episode 3, it didn't feel like a Star Wars
Not at all.
film show. It feels very it's darker. It's even darker than the Mandalorian. It's darker than the Book of Boba Fett, and
Hmm.
this comes to show that you don't always need Mandalorians or Jedi's to make a good Star Wars story.
Yes,
I think.
definitely.
I
This
think.
this by far so far, in my opinion, is one of the best Star Wars series besides The Mandalorian. Because
I think the
I really am a
well,
big
it's hard to
Boba
say.
Fett
It's hard to say
fan.
yet because we're barely on the first episode
Yeah,
of
but
this
look,
show. But it's hard to beat the Mandalorian season 2
of
because
course.
the Mandalorian season 2 has had great moments in episodes. We're introduced to a live action Bo-Katan, a live action Ahsoka Tano, the bringing back of
Luke,
Boba
oh my
Fett,
god.
Luke Skywalker revealing. I mean,
Yeah,
dude,
you get a
it's you.
lot of
It's hard to
callbacks.
beat that. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to beat that, and but right now this just does not feel like a Star Wars film, but in a good way though. I
Yes.
have no problems with it. The writing's really good.
Mm-hmm.
The
I had a lot of
characters,
touchy moments where I'm like, oh man, it kind
yeah,
of felt right here in
the
the.
writing's very good. The characters are interesting. And there's a lot of like good character development in this story, and there's barely any like jokes, like corny jokes. This is a very, very, very serious dark tone Star Wars
Mm-hmm.
show.
Yes.
And I find out, or actually Efren found out, while we were looking at the IMDb, it is said that Diego Luna, Cassian Andor, Diego Luna's character, is going to be in 24 episodes. So that's from 2022 this year all the way to 2023. So
There's a possibility of
I
maybe
feel
12
I feel
episodes
like
on one
they
season.
already did 2 seasons. I feel like they already did 2 seasons. Finished the first season. They're just releasing the first season for this
And probably
for this month,
finishing up the second already.
and we're at it. We're gonna have 12, basically 12 episodes. We
Mm-hmm.
might have 12 or a little bit more episodes for season 1, and then season 2 of next year we'll have 12 episodes again.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a
This is
long
gonna be a good
story,
story.
a long story of Andor.
Yes, and so far we've only gotten scratched the surface with those 3
We barely
episodes.
scratched the surface.
Yeah, well, there's gonna be so much more to come, and I'm just really interested to see exactly what all of this story leads to. Is Cassian gonna find his sister? What's gonna happen when he finds his sister? If he even finds his sister? then there's a lot more like what's gonna happen with Bixian.
This is
Bix,
PG
is,
13,
is
almost
she
R.
is she gonna end up leaving the planet too? And find Cassian. Is Cassie gonna go back to find her? Because you can tell like they still kind of left that kind of like that relationship, not relationship. Yeah, it's a relationship, but not like a romantic relationship. It was more like they're tied down, through their history, and they care about each other. And there's a lot of that. You have also Vixian, who's also was dating
Bix.
Bix, who was dating Tim. Tim, was it the guy who ratted out on
Hmm.
Cassian?
The simp.
The simp, yeah, the guy who's obsessed with her. He like literally knows
The
that,
clingy boyfriend. The clingy boy
Well, I
toy.
mean, I guess he would feel like that because he knows that Bix and Cassian had a thing, and you can kind of tell like he probably feels like they probably still have that connection, and you can kind of tell like the way that he was willing to do anything, even rat out on a guy that.
No, well, he only rat him out just to get him out of the picture.
Yeah, to get him out of the picture, so that way him and his girl can
No,
be
he didn't do
together.
that for her. He did that for himself. So
Yeah.
it was more like for self gain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that just it did obviously it didn't work out for him. He ends up getting killed because he probably thought, hey, I'm gonna go try to rescue my girl in front of a bunch of officers
That was
with their
such a.
guns pointed at me.
That's so
Like that
dumb.
is dumb.
Why did
That
it?
is straight up retarded. Like
No, you can't say that word. Retarded.
it was dumb. It is
You
completely
can say
like
special. That's completely special. No, I'm just kidding. I love the CGI effects here as well.
yeah.
The
The costumes were dope too, especially when they were like
costume
wearing
design.
the kids' costumes. That was really cool. Like they were all color matching, with kind of like
Well,
in a way they're kind of like blending in.
the color tone of that one scene with the flashback with the children, I thought that was well done because they had that greenish tonish tone with their flashbacks. Again, I do like the flashbacks. I like the quick flashbacks because we need these flashbacks because we need to know more about where Cassian Andor came from.
Yeah, where he came from, his
And
origin.
this is like something we never knew about him. So I do like the CGI effects. I love the construction effects, the CGI effects with the construction.
Yeah, dude, that
I
looks
really like that.
crazy. Dude.
That kind of reminded me of the game, the Star Wars game that just came out. Like, let me see which one it was. Go ahead, keep going. I'm looking for this.
So I mean, besides that, I mean, I also like all of the tracks that they play. It kind of gives it like that Game of Thrones kind of vibe with the soundtrack.
Oh, the Fallen Order. Okay, so
All in order.
so this that Star Wars game, the Fallen Order. In the beginning of that game, you find the main protagonist working in construction. So that part alone on the beginning part of that game reminded me of that look with where Andor works at, where Cassian works at, him and his friend in that construction facility, and the machines that they were using were massive. They were just like towers.
Huge.
And they're like buildings. They're like the size of buildings, making buildings, or I don't know. They were digging, right? Are they
Yeah, they
diggers
were
or something?
mining, or who knows
They're
what they were
mining,
doing.
but those things were huge. Also, one thing I did notice is I like that one speeder that they were using. I've never seen. I'm sure it's been shown before in the Star Wars lore shows, maybe even films, but that one speeder
That's a car.
that's all covered up and kind of looks like a skinny Hummer, and kind of like built like a tank because it was deflecting all the corporals, from zapping them. Because I'm used to seeing speeders being convertibles,
Yeah.
but
So
I've
like
never seen
it's like
anything
what they
all
use to
covered.
escape.
I've never seen anything that's all like a Hummer, all covered up like that. I mean, I'm sure they've had it before in the films or so, maybe in the comic books, but I just never seen it like that before,
Yeah.
that design. Also, I do like the design of the, we finally get a R2 unit that talks. I like the fact that,
Yeah.
I thought this R2 unit was just going to beep and like make noises.
No,
just
he
like
actually talks.
R2D2, but this one actually talks, and I love the character, the personality of this R2 unit. He's very loving, very caring. I mean, you could tell that Marva is the owner of this R2, but this R2 unit is so like devoted, not devoted.
He
like,
has his own personality. He's
No,
not
he
just like
does.
a robot. Like, oh, I am here just to.
Well, all droids have personality, but this RT unit specifically is just so caring,
Yeah,
and just
especially
so
for
like
Cassian.
and just so like I'm all about Marva. I'm here to take care of Marva kind of thing, and Marva just like oh where's B? Where are you B? Like I need you kind of thing. It's like Marva can't function. She could, but it's like that's her companion. It's like her pet basically.
He's like the
So
caretaker in a way.
I really like the way that they put personality into this RT unit, and I don't even know who voices RT unit, but I really like this RT unit. I've never seen an RT unit like this before, and I'm not sure if it's CGI. It's hard to tell because the CGI is so well done in this film that I don't know if that's a real mechanical robot they're using controlling and remotely controlling, or if it's all CGI. But I think it is a practical controlled robot. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked nice. I mean, the color on it, just the way that it
It's such a
functions.
cute robot.
At first, I thought he was like those robots that go and deliver food.
Well, we have robots like that.
Yeah,
Man.
I
I
know
mean,
that goes and delivers food.
yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the things here in Star Wars is not far away from what's with the technology that's going on today. So, but I think with this look, they try to make this look as authentic as possible and make it as similar as possible with Rogue One, because you don't want to take that look away
No,
from Rogue One, because Rogue One is just like just years away from looking like this. I mean, the characters, the look. I mean, the whole aesthetics, the whole environment, look of the background and the sets, everything, how everything is designed is just so like similar to Galaxy's Edge and Disneyland.
yeah.
So I really really like that. So
We got Red Pill Trooper. What's up, Red Pill Trooper?
welcome back, Red Pill
Welcome
Trooper.
back.
Let's see what his question is today.
Yeah.
There was no Star Wars in Andor. I agree. It felt like an indie Blade Runner with too much scenes of Andor being perplexed and quizzical. It felt very distant from Star Wars. Yeah,
I
I
definitely
agree.
do.
But see, here's my question for you, Red Pill Trooper. I agree with you with that because this did not feel, as I was explaining earlier in the beginning of this review, that this does not feel like a Star Wars film. This feels like its own entity. Yes, Blade Runner would be like something that I would connect this to. But let me ask you this, Red Pill Trooper: is that a good thing or a bad thing to you? And as if you want to respond to that question, you can go ahead. But we'll just continue on
Yeah.
with this review. But I agree. Yeah, this is not Star Wars.
And
This is Star Wars. It's just not. It's not Star Wars-y.
Yeah.
There's no Jedi's. There's no Mandalorians. You see a couple of aliens here and there that you might actually that's reminiscent to some of the films or show. Like those little frog things that were like running around in the third episode. Like, oh, I think I've seen those aliens before.
Yeah, there was some other aliens. Yeah, it looked like it was a Java, like just running around. Dude, that one little alien.
That one little alien that the guy.
The one that was like, what about the Ken? What do they call them?
I don't know if I've seen that alien before,
Kendall.
that species before, but there's a lot of aliens that I've never seen before, like that big muscle alien that was with that one guy that was trying to front Cassian for credits. Like, oh, like I want my deposit back. I got my muscle right here. I was like, dude.
That guy looked like
Dude,
one of the
like-
characters from Halo. The ones that's chasing the.
Yeah, or like Hellboy or something.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that it was, and we'll get into that. I like the fact that it had like, I don't know if it was a costume or CGI. It's hard to tell, but it looked like practical costume, robotic puppeteering to me, which I like because I like that. I love puppeteers. I love puppets. I like when Jabba the Hutt is all puppets and designed by like being puppets controlled by like 4 people and stuff, and I like all that stuff as opposed to CGI. I mean, if you can do CGI is good if you do it the right way. Red Pill Trooper says there were reminders of Star Wars, few sprinkles of Star Wars. Yeah, I totally agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to read the next one?
Then he also said
Because
there
you're
is.
like looking at it, I
Yeah.
really want to read
He
it.
also did say there is no Star Wars juice, no Star Wars mojo.
Hmm.
Yeah, there wasn't, but and in a way, it's kind of like really cool that it had its own entity. It had its own like feel to it, So it kind of got me the mind off of Star Wars and more into this this whole it's its own genre type of like
It felt
its
like
own
its own.
story.
It felt like its own entity. It was. There's no. I mean, we get some name drops of like the Empire, and that's pretty much it. There are no other name drops that would somehow connect this. It's I mean it's still connected either we like it or we don't because this is Rogue One prequel. Um, but there's really no talks, nothing else, no name drops that makes it like Star Wars lore. It's hard to say,
Yeah.
but like all I hear is like the Empire, and that's the only connecting part of this.
Hmm.
So Red Pill, you want to read the last one?
He also
Red.
Red Pill Trooper also said the show had too much talking and it was boring.
So
For you, it was boring. For us, I mean, for me in general, I mean, I'm a Diego Luna fan, so just watching him overall acting
you
as
can't just
Cassian,
but then again you can't just like a film or a show just because you like the actor.
I can, and I will, and I'm
Oh.
just gonna say that because, in regards his role, the way he played, it reminded me of Felix in, Narcos Mexico. The same way that he played in that role, the same way he's playing with Cassian, I really like that. It kind of gives it a whole different meaningful of the character itself because it kind of reminds me more of like Scarface or like somebody who is like just always thinking and always planning, always doing like all in his head before he goes and acts
I
out,
mean, it's
and that's
calculating.
calculating, yeah, calculating, thinking,
Hmm.
planning out, making moves, and then boom, just goes and delivers. And that's exactly what Cassian was basically doing. Yes, it was a lot of
Dialogue.
dialogue. However, it's important to have that at the beginning because you kind of want to understand exactly what the hell's going on. And it could have given a little bit more action, but at the same time, the dialogue and the story behind it kind of took my mind off of wanting the action. But yeah, I mean, I definitely want to see some more action. Like, I want to see them take out
This
a lot of troopers
to
and
be
shit.
honest with you, this there was some, and I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me or not, but there are some Game of Thrones moments here. I mean, there is a lot of dialogue in Game of Thrones. There's a lot of dialogue in House of Dragons, but what makes the show so intense is the words and the dialogue. The words are always fighting words. They're always like trying to up each other with their
Yeah,
words and stuff. And sometimes,
yeah,
and that's what made, well, at least maybe the first four seasons of Game of Thrones and the House of Dragons such a good collaborative show because of the dialogue. I mean, like even in House of Dragons, we see dragons, but how often do you see dragons doing their thing? Like we'll see them like pass by flying and all that stuff here and there. We'll see a war here and there, but even in the first which one? I think it was the first episode of House of Dragons. What's his name? Damon was killing like all the rapists and all the murderers and stuff like that.
hmm,
That was a little bit of action, but then it went back to dialogue, went back to like the throne and the trying to get married and how to put our houses together.
yeah. The politics side of it.
It's all the politics side of it. So there's a lot of dialogue and things which has very little action, but sometimes the way I see it, it's more about story arc.
The action is more like the way that they talk, the way that they conflict, or the way that they're trying to strategize,
Mhm.
plan, and figure out exactly what is the motive, what is what's happening at the moment, and what is the goal. The goal to me is he is looking for his sister. He's trying to find her. She's MIA. Who knows what the hell
But
happened?
I think they did spend a little too much time, like from episodes 1, 2, and 3, him trying to like it took him a long time just to get out of this place, but
It did.
it took that one Luthen it took that one Luthen to actually get him out of the
That's the only way he got out.
with the swoop bikes and stuff like that. But maybe it could have been a little bit quicker. Maybe in the second episode, like they would have had him like leave the city or the that because they didn't leave the planet, they just left the city. So maybe like in the second episode he would have left, and then maybe the third episode would introduce us to like his adventure.
Yeah,
just like
it could have.
Ninja Red.
If he had the money, it would have happened. Unfortunately, he was broke.
But I do okay. Maybe I agree with Red Pill Trooper in some aspects, in some parts of the show. I think he was spending way too much time like getting the money. But I think what they were trying to do, what the director was trying to do, was trying to have the audience, have the viewers follow Andor in introducing these characters, because these characters are going to be playing, a pretty big role later on in the series.
Yep.
I think so, especially Marva. Like Marva is like the reason why he's there. So you want to read this last one by Red Pill Trooper?
And Red Pill Trooper also said Luna's performance reminds me of Y Tu Mamá También. Yeah, it definitely does.
Tu mamá también.
Have you watched that?
What? Okay, let me see if I can get this part, because my Spanish is like 50-50. Yeah, tu your mama? Is it your mom's?
Y tu.
Your mom? What's yeah tu your mom's también? What's también?
And also like it's like in a way saying and your mom as well.
Your mom as well. No, I've never seen that. What's
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, no, I mean just his personality overall. Like I said, when I see
No, but
him,
what's that?
it's a film, but the overall what he's trying to say is like his character is kind of similar to that, and it's true. It's similar to a lot of films and a lot of shows actually, not just from that, but also you kind of get it from Narcos. Like when I see that from the beginning, I'm just like, dude, he has that serious face, that always thinking, and that's exactly how Felix was, and that's the way that he's kind of playing this role here, and it has a lot of similarities.
But actors have to play different roles too. They can't always like play.
No, of course not. Of course not. But
just like Will Smith plays every role. Will Smith, like he's always Will Smith in every role.
Yeah, that's his signature.
That's his like signature. His like charismatic, like comedic, style. Thank you for the comments, Red Pill Trooper. Always glad to see you here.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, some parts I might have to agree with Red Pill Trooper, but I may have to also respectfully disagree with you, Red Pill Trooper, as far as like the whole entire show. I actually like this show, just for some odd reason. It's just there is a lot of dialogue, but I wasn't really expecting too much action, because I really want to know, the origin of Rogue One. Like I want to know the origin of this character. And again, sometimes, when we're doing like spin-offs of different characters, we can't always expect Jedis. We can't always expect
Mandalorians
like starship battles all the time. We can't always expect like big characters. And I know we've been so accustomed to it because, like, dude, we're already being spoiled with Mandalorians and Boba Fett and Ahsoka Tano and Bo-Katan and like Jedis and more Jedis. We've been so accustomed to it that we've taken ourselves away from like, okay, let's look at the little people. What about these little sides right here?
Yeah. No, Rogue One is definitely an importance in the Star Wars.
Rogue One was one of the best Star Wars films,
and it made a huge impact, in the storyline.
I think a lot of people. I mean, maybe there's some mixed crowds on it, but I thought Rogue One was a dark Star Wars film.
And it was not meant to have a happy ending.
They're a Suicide Squad, basically. They're there to die. And I think this show is basically the epitome of it.
Yeah, it's honoring these people that basically...
this show is they're trying to keep that formula with this show, with Rogue One, and they're trying to keep it that way.
Yeah. And see, like me, like... I'm like Red Pill Trooper. I really enjoy a lot of action. I'm the type, if there's not much action or anything that's very sparks in me, then I'm just like, you know what, not for me.
Efren is usually mostly into action. He likes action stuff. He doesn't like shows that are just all talking, but this show got him. Like,
man. It's just the way that they wrote the story is just really cool, man. It really is like... it's an amazing story to tell.
But I
Like
can understand Red Pill Troopers. Everyone's opinion is objective, of course. Or subjective. Everyone's opinion is valid. If you don't like show for its reason, that's understandable. And Red Pill Trooper says they did great justifying Andor's purpose in Rogue One. This show is not so far, but the problem is that Star Wars left like another galaxy far, far away in this show. Okay, there's one part I'll agree with you at that part, and then you do have a valid point there with that last part. But the problem is that Star Wars felt like another galaxy far, far away in this show. Meaning they kept it very exclusive away from your main Star Wars. And as far as justifying Andor purpose and Joe, yeah. So it's I kind of get it. Like it's Rogue One, but like again, this show's like its own entity now. So it's gonna be hard to tell how much how much familiarity we're gonna get from this to Rogue One because it's supposed to be the Rogue One.
Somehow,
feel.
well, who knows? We're early into the game.
It
Later
is
on,
very
it
early.
might
This
it
is
might
very early.
somehow connect, and you might start getting more Star Wars characters that are gonna start coming out.
Cameos.
Cameos are gonna
Well-
come out. You're gonna be like, oh shit, and then it's gonna be a lot more interesting. But keep in mind, it is 24 episodes. So
No,
12
for season
episodes
one.
here.
For this season one, it's gonna be 12 or maybe 13. For season two, it's gonna complete the rest of the episodes to make it 24. But
So
this
you
is
can- it's
there's
gonna
gonna
be a
be
lot.
2 seasons, and they've already premeditated this. This is already.
It's already
in the
called for.
makings. It's already
Not even
in-
like Book of Boba Fett, where I was like, hey, hopefully they come out with a second season, or the same thing with Kenobi. We don't even know.
I think they're also working on the Book of Boba Fett season 2.
That'd be cool.
Season 2
Hopefully
already.
they do.
So they're going to continue on with his story. Of course, we are getting the Mandalorian season 3 as well. So
I'll be surprised if Boba Fett comes out in the Mandalorian.
there's
season
a
3.
possibility of that happening as well. Yeah. So Red Pill Trooper, you want to read this one?
Go for it.
Red Pill Trooper says Andor is its own entity with hints of Star Wars. Rogue One was not its own entity.
Yeah, Rogue One was kind of like it was connected because it had you could see like the Empire, everything was all well, but like I said, I mean in a way, it's just the beginning. Maybe they're just trying to get the dialogue, like there's the storyline out of the way, like the introducing the characters, so that way you can kind of know who's who, what's the goal, what's gonna happen. I mean, there really is no.
I agree
for
with
the
this one
Star
though.
Wars.
Like I did say this, like Andor is its own entity.
Yeah.
Like this show feels like its own thing. Like it's so like exclusive from it. The whole Star Wars lore.
Yeah.
There's like really barely any mention except for the Empire. We hear the Empire.
But I feel like
And
it is gonna somehow connect.
a lot of these characters. Well, no, they're all connected regardless.
No, I know, but I feel like it's gonna get more into like really the Star Wars.
I
lore
think what
at
it
the
is
end.
because we're being introduced to so many new characters that either nobody cares about or nobody knows, right? And I don't know. I don't know if does any of these characters like kind of do you recognize any of these like new
No,
characters?
so far no. Just just
So-
right now Andor and Cassian. That's it.
So like Rogue One was not its own entity. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's Rogue One is like it's their filler. Well, it's like their little bridge that they
Between
have
the
to
next episode.
their bridge to which episode?
What's one? This was the New Hope or after?
Good job, Efren. Finally. Yeah. So yeah. So Rogue One was its bridge to A New Hope, and well, not really from like Revenge of the Sith because you still have more stuff behind Rogue One. But yeah, that Rogue One was like Star Wars 3.8 or something. I don't know. 3.8 episode. I don't know. And then New Hope was like part 4, episode 4. But yeah, thank you for all that. Yeah, I definitely agree. But yeah, the Andor is
It's its own thing. But that's what I like about
Yeah,
it because then it's
Andor is
like
so its own thing, so
you know
exclusive.
you're gonna be able to really expand it more. Like okay, this is obviously like the Star
I don't
Wars,
know.
but maybe down here is what the little side characters is what kind of help push to the New Hope. You know, because that's exactly what happened. You know that sacrifice that they did. So being able to see exactly how that even happened, how that even came to be, how the
No, okay, look, new on Rogue One. The whole point of Rogue One is basically these guys are a Suicide Squad. They were set into this mission to die, to get the plans and deliver the plans to Leia. That was the whole point.
yeah.
Deliver the plans to, well, I think, yeah, to her. Like they were supposed to give it to her, and then of course she delivers the plans to Obi-Wan, or R2D2, and then R2D2 is supposed to let Obi-Wan know, and then Obi-Wan is supposed to let like the Republic know and all that stuff. So that was the whole point of that. So that's its set story, and we already know what's going on, and they needed to ban the crew to enable to do this because the whole part of the plans, the whole point of this plans is the plans shows a weakness within the Death Star, and by giving the rebellion the plans and the secret to where the weakness of the Death Star is would help them destroy the Death Star because the Death Star was impenetrable, like nobody can get to it.
That's what they call
So
it.
that's why they needed the plans to figure out where the weak point is, and that's why Luke Skywalker with I don't know if it was with Red Leader or Gold Leader, but Luke Skywalker, with all his glory, came in and destroyed the weak part of the Death Star. Which I kind of don't understand why that was a weak point because it's so exposed. Like, why would you even have a weak point? Like, why would you even have design plans weak point to the Death Star? And why would you even have it exposed easily for somebody to just come in there and destroy it? But anyway, it's still Star Wars.
Yeah.
But that's why Rogue One was such an important movie because it was that connector. Like, okay, like there was this all talks like, oh yeah, this rebellion team, like they sacrificed their lives. Like, who are these guys? And then people were like, I wonder who these guys look like. And then that's why they made the Rogue One film. They're like, oh, these are the guys. These are the guys that sacrificed their lives to get the plans to deliver it to Leia. There you
So
go.
that we could finally get that Death Star.
Did you know that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Just wondering if we're in the same boat. But as opposed to this one, Andor, it's so far away from Rogue One, but the look of it is Rogue One. But as far as like the whole story, it's still far away from the similarities with Rogue One. So yeah, that's why it feels like its own thing. But I guess we'll find out more. We'll find out
this
more
is just
later
the
on.
beginning. I
We'll
mean,
find
there's
out
gonna
more.
be 2 seasons, so it's definitely gonna have. I have more. I have a feeling it's gonna have more connection to kind of connecting certain parts of either the films or other shows. That happened between Rogue One and
Let's just say
New
this:
Hope.
this is not going to be connected to Mandalorian or the Book
No,
of
of
Boba
course
Fett
not.
at all.
It's not.
None of that.
None
Yeah.
of that.
I don't even know if we're going to have any Jedi's showing up because the Jedi's were already deleted. They've already destroyed. They killed all the Jedi's. The only remaining Jedi's that survived was Yoda, Vaihiz, and Dagobah. What's his name? Yoda. Obi-Wan Kenobi was still alive. Obi-Wan Kenobi's still alive here. The Empire, the Darth Vader. I mean, we might get some glimpse of the Darth Vader, but I don't. They would have to make it relevant, like why Darth Vader would show up. We might get some Imperial officers from Rogue One. Maybe I don't know. We might get
Well, we're gonna
some
definitely probably
familiar
meet Leia.
some
Princess Leia.
characters. Maybe Leia might pop out. Maybe we'll get like a DAG Leia or CGI Leia, or maybe a new actress playing Leia.
Because isn't it like in Rogue One? Doesn't he kind of Cassie already know like Leia? Doesn't like Cassie actually know Leia in Rogue
Cassian?
One? Yeah, Cassian.
I'm not sure. I have to rewatch that part again. Maybe so. But yeah, because she never really showed up till the end, so I'm not sure if they know her. But I know they had to deliver the plans to Leia and her team. But you want to read the next one?
Last one. Okay. It says Red Pill Trooper says ultimately Andor dies. Yeah, I mean
Well, yeah.
that's we all know it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
That's
we all
gonna
know that.
happen.
We all know that. Yeah.
But it's cool to see his story though, like what happened before. Like who was he that made him
This is going to be like the story of like
infamous.
building the rebellion because when I forgot what the character's name was, but that one girl who joins them and she becomes the leader of the team, she dies with them, of course. She meets Andor. She meets Cassian. So and Cassian was already part of the rebels, like this rebellion team. So I don't know what squad he's part of, but he's already part of the rebels. So this is ultimately like just trying to, they're basically just going to be building like the rebels, and what's his name, Luthen is gonna help him do that. I think Luthen is part of him too.
Like he's probably plays a big role in
He plays a big
with the
role in
rebels.
maybe like getting him, like introduced to the rebels, rebellion fleets and stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I really liked it, and I know each episode's gonna be a week long now. I wish there would have been like another 2 episodes next week or something like that. But yeah, I mean, if it's
I don't
12
know,
episodes,
dude.
that's 12
This
weeks.
is 12 episodes, man.
Yeah,
They
so
might
that
do
means 9 more weeks.
they might do like 2 episodes a week, dude. If it's 12 episodes,
Not there's gonna be another 2 months to totally finish.
I mean, this is like how many episodes?
2 months and a week.
This is how many episodes does Clone Wars have per season?
Clone Wars? Oh no, Clone Wars had a lot.
Like what? 20 episodes per season?
Nah, probably more than that.
24 episodes
Like
per
24.
season. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But they're only like what? 20 minutes. 20 minutes each. Yeah. So yeah, thanks, Red Pill Trooper. Thank you again. Yeah, thanks for
joining
always
us.
joining. I know you're one of the few that actually comes into our live reviews and stuff. Like, I appreciate that. We do appreciate that.
Big shout outs to Red Pill Trooper.
And also in about 45 minutes, there's a video that we'll be posting. Here are some updates to our channel. We'll be posting our "How Did We Get Monetized" video.
Yes.
I'll be posting that. Also, I will be posting some Comic Con videos. Our review of Comic Con. Also, this was last year, but I haven't posted it yet. And of course, a cosplay video of Comic Con. So I think that's going to be pretty fun. And the chain reaction of the next Mandalorian season 1, which is The Prisoner, that is on the works as well. So those are some of the updates, and the Book of Boba Fett
Yep.
episode 3 reaction. Yeah, look, my computer was out, so guys, now that I have faster internet, I'm able to crack these videos out as fast as possible. So you guys gonna be getting a lot of content.
Yeah.
On a by daily.
Maybe a few days.
On a by daily basis. By daily? Like
Every
every 2
other day?
days, every other day. I'll be posting some new content and stuff.
And just keep in mind, we are basically merging our Crown Gambit lifestyle with the Crown Gambit channel. So you're not just going to be seeing reaction videos. You're not going to also see live reviews. But you're also going to start getting some more content where it's involving our lifestyle. So make sure to stick around for those, because it's going to be very interesting, at least just to kind of see exactly what we do when we go to Comic Cons, when we go to do all these other
Especially
things,
events, like the
that
Comic
we
Con
go to
stuff. We did a lot of videos. Well, Efren only came with me last year for LA Comic Con. This year I went to San Diego Comic Con. I got some footage there, and I went to Long Beach Comic Con, and that one was all right. It was small, but it was still fun. And then, of course, the next Comic Con that I'll be attending would be this year's LA Comic Con 2022. So that's gonna be fun. It's always and the LA Comic Con is always big. It's probably second largest to San Diego Comic Con, at least based on my experience.
Yeah.
Because
So
SDCC
And it's
is.
not just gonna be like Comic Con, anime, or any of that. We also gonna be posting our trips to Universal Studios, so everybody.
Oh, we
can
have a
see
lot
exactly.
of videos of Universal.
Yeah,
Studios.
Universal Studios gonna be doing Disneyland trips. It's basically gonna be everything of our lifestyle itself. So make sure to stick around for those as well.
I'm trying to make
which
it
will be
fun.
famous. So yeah,
Try to make the video fun, but yeah,
So-
that's good. Thank you, Red Pill Trooper, for your comments.
and for your engagement.
Engagement.
And the engagement. Yeah, engaging.
Oh,
with us.
engaging. Thank you for and yeah. My name is. Well, is there anything else that you want to add?
Now we basically cover what's going to be the first 3 episodes. Well, what happened in the first 3 episodes. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys
And
can
we'd love
tell.
to see you again, Red Pill Trooper, if you're still streaming with us. But we'd love to see you again. We always like your comments and stuff. Either you agree with us, if you don't agree with us,
That's fine.
it's all fine because it's movies. Everyone has their opinion, and I respect that. I respect that.
Well, other than that, man, we appreciate everyone. If you guys haven't had a chance,
Go ahead, put your comments.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and support us on Patreon. Become a member today.
Yeah.
And big shout outs to Invincible and to Jason Beltran. Thank you so much for being loyal Patreon members since day one.
Patreon. Thank you for your patronage.
Patreon.
And that's that, guys.
This is gonna wrap it up.
This has been fun. I love talking to you guys. I love the messages. Some of you guys do send me messages in Messenger. Sometimes you DM me. I like hearing from you guys. We'll be again. I have a video that will be posting up at 8 o'clock in 45 minutes or so. That's going to be talk about the story of our monetization and the story of Crown Gambit. So look out for that. Go ahead and watch the show. It's different. Again, in conclusion, it's like its own standalone. It's its own standalone thing in the Star Wars universe. It's still part of the Star Wars lore, but it's just
not really connected.
It's connected, bro.
But not really.
It's connected.
It's connected. Of course, it's connected.
Not really.
But
connected.
at the same time, it's its own thing.
It's its own thing. Yeah. It's its own
You're not gonna
entity.
get
Just like Red Pill
Jedi's
Trooper
and-
says, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can catch me in Aubrey Freely _81. That is my IG. If you have any questions for me and Efren, you can DM me there. Where can they
Or you
find
can
me?
also find me at Efra Santos on my Instagram. You can also DM us, or just hit us up.
Yeah, and if you're not a patron yet, if you want to become a patron, go ahead and check out the tiers and the benefits. That's pretty much it. If you want to buy us a coffee, you can do that too. It's up to you. But that's pretty much it, guys. And
This is going to wrap it up, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys watched it all the way till the end.
are we doing She-Hulk?
Yeah, we're going to be doing She-Hulk, but we're not going to be doing it tomorrow. We're actually going to possibly do it on Friday. Just because I got other engagements I have to do tomorrow, so there's no way we can do it. But Friday is going to be the day.
What are your engagements?
There's got other things I have to do. But we will be taking care of it on Friday. So, Red Pill Trooper, I hope I see you on Friday.
What,
She-Hulk.
you're be hanging out with Red Pill Trooper without me?
Well, I mean,
The
obviously
heck?
you're going to be here.
You guys going to a party or something like that? I didn't
But
know
not
about
for
that.
She-Hulk. He even said it. That's funny. But not for She-Hulk. He
So
said,
you
nah,
and
I'm
Red Pill
done
Trooper
with
are
that.
hanging out already?
Yeah, Red Pill Trooper said, I'm done with She-Hulk. Damn, we gave it too many episodes.
Wait, did the last... Yeah, you know what, Red Pill Trooper? I'm kind of with you with that. But you know what? We're still going to do the review. But you're not going to be in our review. I get it.
That's
get
cool.
It. I get
You're
it, Red
not.
Pill Trooper.
But we get it, dude. Honestly, we're just doing it just to kind of wrap it up on She-Hulk. I do want to see what happens on this one because I do want to see Daredevil or at least Matt Murdock. So,
I'm telling you, bro, Matt Murdock is not going to show up till the end of the
I feel
season.
he's gonna come on this episode.
Bro, they're going to
I'm
just...
calling it now.
They're going to hint him, but they're not going to show him. Red Pill Trooper says the binge watching wants to finish this. Red Pill Trooper says the binge watcher wants to finish the season, but man, it's tough. I know.
Mm-hmm.
I so agree. But
We gotta do what we gotta do.
We gotta do what we gotta do.
You know what I'm saying?
Thanks, Red Pill Trooper, for your comments. I'll see you next time. Like you stated, hopefully we can see you in the She-Hulk review.
But no,
Be here
maybe you
Friday.
might watch and be like, "Holy shit! There's something came up that's gonna be cool." I want to see what Crown Gambit has to say for this.
Talk more shit.
Talk more shit.
Red Pill Trooper says the comics and novels on Shield are dude, seriously.
Way better.
You know what? One thing I wanted to mention that I didn't mention in the review with a She-Hulk is that She-Hulk is never she complains a lot in the show. And in the comic books, she's very confident in the comic books. She doesn't even act like that. Like their personalities are not intertwined with each other, and that's one thing I was like, This is not She-Hulk, not really. Well, it is, but it's just
No,
this is a
not
different take on She-Hulk. You know, this is an MCU She-Hulk, but you know, sometimes Disney just likes to do things like this, just change things. I don't know, but thank you so much. And then Weird Pill Trooper says the show feels like Judge Judy with a green shake. Yeah, a lot of drama.
A lot.
That'll be it, guys. Thank you again, Real Pill Trooper. And if you do respond, put another comment, we'll just reply to that comment in our regular comment section. Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to see you guys live. And that's it.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Have a good night.
Peace out. Catch you guys next time.
Peace.
See you.